you know, the legacy is so strong today because my mother has been at the helm. And she sort of directed how we're going to, you know, I mean, she said right from the beginning, I'll give you an example. She said, no bobbleheads. I'm not having his head bobbing around. So we've tried not to over-commercialize him in any way. So, you know, getting the film done right was so important to her, and that's why I'm so excited that she's 90 and she can, you know, have this wonderful film to, you know, like, it's just pretty amazing. And then the other thing she did was she negotiated with Ken Burns. So Ken is doing a documentary that will come out in the next couple of years. You know, there's a time period between the film release and the documentary, but he's absolutely doing that. And people ask why it took 30 years, essentially, to get this film made. And, you know, many people wanted to do it, but we got the right team this time. With Thomas Tull and Legendary Pictures. Thomas was totally committed to this, putting his own money into it right from the beginning. He brought Brian Hegelin in, and the first script we read was right. Then Warner Brothers joined, and the marketing effort has just been extraordinary with Warner Brothers. It's been a great partner. And then the cast, you know, so it took a long time to get made, but that's why we have such a good product, because it is the right time. But this year, with our Reagan Barris program, because we had the film coming out, we, Scholastic approached Warner Brothers. They agreed to partner with us on the Reagan Barris program. So the whole program culminates with kids writing an essay about a barrier or obstacle that they've had to overcome in their lives. And they have to talk about how one or more of my father's values have helped him to get to the next level. We used to get between 5,000 and 10,000 essays each year. This year we got 18,600 because the Host and Teacher Guide also featured the film. So it's, you know, it just shows how the partnership and, you know, this film will also help to get kids to understand who Jackie Robinson was. Well, on his tombstone, it says, it's his favorite quote, a life is not important except for the impact it has on other lives. And I'd say that's my biggest takeaway. It started happening for me when I was 13. My father came home from one of his trips down south because he used to really struggle with that fact he couldn't get athletes, professional athletes, to go with him when he would go south and to support the movement. And it bothered him a great deal. So he came home on one of these trips and he said, you know, I've been going down south all these years, you know, past whatever years it was, because he started in '57, so somebody do the math. But anyway, so this is '63, and he said, and we were living in Connecticut, in Stamford, Connecticut, and he said that I want us as a family, I want you to find a career that you love and that's so important, and for you to have family that's, you know, at the top of your list. But as a family, we're going to be involved in the movement for equality in this country. And so he said, from now on, we'll go to marches together as a family. So our first march was the March on Washington. And he said, we're also going to start raising money for the civil rights movement right here in our home in Stamford, Connecticut. So we started having jazz concerts. And even, you know, and everyone was given a task. We had to clean our rooms because the artists were going to be changing in them. We sold sodas, my brothers parked cars, we sold hot dogs. So it started a whole family mission. And when my father died, my mother started the Jackie Robinson Foundation. My brother and I are on the board. I've done every role you can imagine within the foundation. I mean, that's in addition to my work, in addition to raising my son. The last year of his life, while he was battling, you know, heart disease and diabetes, he was also being honored because it was the 25th anniversary of him breaking the color barrier. And there were tributes all over. And I remember our very last one was the World Series in Cincinnati. And I was at Howard University. I was a senior. My brother was in, where was Dave? Dave was working in New York at the time. Jackie had died. And I was like, I had exams and be perfectly honest, I didn't want to go because I heard Nixon was going to come. And I was like, oh, he's not going to get us twice, you know. He fooled us, fooled me once, but he fooled me twice. So anyway, my father said, you know, just trust me and come. I need you all to come. So we all came from our various places and met in Cincinnati for that World Series. And it turned out it was our last time together as a family. And it was like you sense there wasn't a lot of time and you're at a baseball game. So it was my first time that I really was asking him all these questions about those years, because it just seemed appropriate and I wanted to know, and he was there and we were at a baseball game. So I don't think he, you know, had no expectation that his legacy would not only survive but have grown to the extent it has today.